From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. J.D. Vance used his keynote address to the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee last night to share the story of his hard-scrabble upbringing and make the case that his party best understands the challenges facing struggling Americans. In his first primetime speech since becoming the nominee for vice president on the GOP ticket with Donald Trump, the 39-year-old Ohio senator cast himself as a young fighter for a forgotten working class.
A leader who rejects Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Green New scam and fights to bring back our great American factories. We need President Donald J. Trump.
Donald Trump himself will address the convention tonight. U.S. President Joe Biden is self-isolating at his home in Delaware after testing positive for COVID-19 yesterday while on the campaign trail in Las Vegas. His doctor says the president is experiencing mild symptoms from the infection. Biden's third bout with COVID comes at a precarious time in his re-election campaign. A poll by the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs, conducted 2 weeks after Biden's debate flop, finds nearly two-thirds of Democrats say the 81-year-old should withdraw from the presidential race and let his party select a different candidate. The Prime Minister's office says the Liberal cabinet will have a brief meeting tomorrow, and one source tells the Canadian Press that meeting is only scheduled to be about 20 minutes long. Cabinet has to approve some governor-in-council appointments, but it will mark the first time ministers have come together since the Liberals lost a by-election last month in a long-time stronghold riding Toronto-St. Paul's. Since then, Trudeau has been plagued by questions over whether he should resign. Media reports are speculating a cabinet shuffle may be in the works. Lieutenant General Jenny Carignan is set to officially take over command of this country's armed forces this morning in a ceremony at the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa.
Carignan will also be promoted to the rank of general during the change of command ceremony. She was chosen by the federal government to become Canada's first female defense chief. For the last few years, she has been the chief of professional conduct and culture, a job created as a result of the sexual misconduct scandal in 2021. Brenda Molina Navidad, The Canadian Press.
The Public Health Agency of Canada says 2 people have died after an outbreak of listeria infections linked to that recall earlier this month of some plant-based refrigerated beverages. The recall affected Danone's various Silk brand almond, coconut, and oat milks and Great Value brand almond milk. The agency says most of the 12 lab-confirmed cases of listeriosis have been in Ontario. Nova Scotia and Quebec each had one as well. And German police say they have detained a man suspected of stalking Taylor Swift ahead of last night's first of 3 shows by the pop star in the western city of Gelsenkirchen. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the first round of golf's British Open gets underway in the morning at Scotland's Royal Troon. World number 1 Scottie Scheffler of the U.S. is a heavy favorite. His 6 PGA Tour victories before the calendar turned to July are the most since Arnold Palmer in 1962. Canadians Nick Taylor, Adam Hadwin, Corey Connors, and Mackenzie Hughes are in the field at this year's British Open. In soccer, Fafa Picault scored in the 76th minute to lift the Vancouver Whitecaps to a 2-1 win over visiting Kansas City in Major League Soccer. Joseph Martinez produced a pair of second-half goals for Montreal in a 2-2 tie with the New York Red Bulls, and Toronto fell 3-1 to host Inter Miami. The Canadian women's soccer team wrapped up its Olympic prep with a 1-0 win over Nigeria in Spain in the friendly tune-up for Paris. Canada opens the defense of its Olympic title next week against New Zealand in Saint-Étienne, France. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.